walked out of the gate, and it wasn't a quick beginning for Eva's Party either. Heading to the 6-furlong pole, and Air Force Thunder makes it to the rail. Leads 3/4 of a length. If you ain't first, you're last, second. And then it's Coconut Girl in third. A gap of 6 back to Senora Vittoria. Rainbows on Ice is next. Then another large distance back to 11 out of 10 and Eva's Party. It is a strung out field. 20 lengths covers them down the back stretch. And it is Air Force Thunder, a length and a half. If you ain't first, you're last, second. Another 4 back to Coconut Girl, who's a half dozen clear of Senora Vittoria. Rainbows on Ice, 11 out of 10, and Eva's Party. 3 furlongs out, Air Force Thunder, challenged by If You Ain't First, You're Last, who's within a next second. 10 lengths to the next flight. Senora Vittoria starts to pick up some momentum. Then Coconut Girl and Rainbows on Ice. They have a 1/4 mile to go. Air Force Thunder trying to fend off If You Ain't First, You're Last. It's a tough task. If You Ain't First, You're Last on the outside, up to take a very narrow lead. At the rail, Air Force Thunder is fighting, and it's still a distance, 11 out of 10. Senora Vittoria battling it out for the show dough. 16th pole. If You Ain't First, You're Last. Air Force Thunder, nose to nose. It's going to be very tight. Here's the line. If You Ain't First, You're Last. And Air Force Thunder in a photo finish. 11 out of 10, a distant third, followed by Senora Vittoria and Eva's Party. Midnight Fury. And they're off. So I'm told, and Big Coop sprint out for the early lead. Mo Rewards, Camaraderie, Midnight Fury outside of them. Then it's Kimmer, 3 lengths off the pace, and Explain This Audit trails. Into the first turn, So I'm told, sprints up on the inside of Midnight Fury, the pace very honest. Camaraderie is just behind them, settling in third. Then Kimmer fourth. Big Coop well spotted, 4 lengths off the lead. 2 more to Mo Rewards and Explain This Audit. Onto the backstretch, and it's So I'm Told, leading by a neck. Midnight Fury keeps the pressure on second. A length and a half. Camaraderie is a very willing third. At the rail, Kimmer in fourth. Big Coop by himself in fifth, 4.5 off the lead. Explain This Audit is out of last, and that leaves Mo Rewards at the back. Into the turn, So I'm Told, a length. Midnight Fury in second. On the far outside, Big Coop with the pink is making headway, and so is Camaraderie making his move. Those two go after the leader together. It is So I'm Told. Camaraderie tackles him, and Big Coop makes it 3 across the course. Camaraderie gets the jump. Big Coop will try to run him down. So I'm Told at the rail. From the back, Explain This Audit. Final furlong, Camaraderie running strongly through the stretch. Has a 2-length edge on Big Coop. And now Explain This Audit moves fast into second. It's Camaraderie, Explain This Audit. Camaraderie holds off Explain This Audit. Big Coop third. Fourth was between So I'm Told and Mo Rewards. Bred in Ireland by Grangemore Stud. The running time, 1 minute 35.25 seconds. The fifth name for the Derby. Outside. And they're off. And Naughty Nadine, Class Clown, the first 2 out. Class Clown takes the lead. Lisa's No-No down at the rail. Big Novel is moving through, taking the second position into the first turn, and Grace Period at the back. Class Clown, the easy lead through the opening furlongs, leads it by 2. Big Novel second. Lisa's Nono alongside third. They're followed by Naughty Nadine, 4 off the lead, and Grace Period is down at the rail. They swing on to the backstretch, and it's Class Clown, the controlling speed. 2-length advantage onto the backstretch. Lisa's Nono on the outside, a joint second with Big Novel on the rail. Then it's Grace Period, 6 lengths off the lead. Naughty Nadine pushed along at the back with a half mile to travel. It's been all Class Clown. Class Clown just cruising, 2-length advantage. Lisa's Nono at the rail. Big Novel has lost a little bit of ground, gets called on now, trying to make up a little bit of progress on Class Clown, who has almost a 3-length lead. Lisa's Nono still holding second at this point. And Big Novel is down at the rail, struggling, losing ground. Grace Period, fourth, 6 lengths off Class Clown. Class Clown turns for home in front. Lisa's Nono in second. Big Novel third. They're coming to the 8th pole, and Class Clown still with a 4-length lead. Lisa's Nono trying to close the gap in the late stages and is starting to do so now. Class Clown getting tired. Here's Lisa's Nono. Lisa's Nono with all the momentum late. Runs right on by, and then Big Novel takes second. Class Clown comes up empty the last 16th. Lisa's Nono wins it by 2. Big Novel, Class Clown, Grace Period. We're in the gate. And they're off. Salardi and Maven battle it out through the opening furlong. Hot box. We're going to have a good time. Along the inside is in the mix. And Sycon now joins the fray on the outside. In fact, Sycon takes the lead. Disco Tribute just behind this group. 6 in front of Happy Happy. Into the far turn. Hot box Sycon now battling a length and a half in front. Now it's 2, maybe 3 in front of Maven. On the outside, Salardi is next. Disco Tribute is moving up in between rivals now to take third, followed by We Gonna Have a Good Time. Happy Happy at the back. Quarter to go. Hot box. Here comes Disco Tribute with a nice rally on the extreme outside. In between them, Sycon. They're in the final furlong, and Disco Tribute has kicked it into high gear, and he comes right after Hot box, picks him up, and starts to pull clear late. It's going to be Disco Tribute and Victor Espinoza to win it by a length and a half. Hot box in a photo with Salardi. Another photo. Happy Happy from out of nowhere, and Sycon. Court goes in. And they're off. Perfect and even start. Race Judicata, Isa Court, Cornelia Fort in between them. Sweet Hello comes through along the rail. Tizzy Twister and Sensible Move. Around the clubhouse turn, it's Race Judicata, leading the way by a length and a half. Isa Court is in second. Sweet Hello third. Cornelia Fort had a little bit of trouble and is now sandwiched in between rivals. Sensible Move moves up on the outside, and 2 more back to Tizzy Twister. Onto the backstretch. Race Judicata, 1-length lead. Isa Court second. Sweet Hello is down on the inside with Sensible Move. In between those two, Cornelia Fort, if she could only talk, and another length and a half to Tizzy Twister. They have a half mile left to go, and it's Race Judicata leading the way 3/4 of a length. Isa Court still second. Sweet Hello is down at the rail. Sensible Move. Cornelia Fort looking for room between those two, inching up now to find breathing room, and Tizzy Twister at the back. Midway on the far turn, Isa Court takes the lead. Cornelia Fort on the outside moves to take second. Race Judicata is down at the rail, and then Sensible Move. They turn for home. It's Isa Court in charge by 3. Cornelia Fort clearly into second, chasing gamely now. Isacourt, Cornelia Fort. Isacourt by 2.5. Cornelia Fort trying very hard in second and closing now. And here's Cornelia Fort, who was a half an hour the best. Wins it going away. Isacourt will be second. Then it was a long way to Tizzy Twister in third, and Sensible Move finished fourth. Then Anita Park. Thirsty Thursday. And they're off. Immelman is quick. Good Lovin' has speed and challenges in the opening furlong. Thirsty Thursday on the outside. Here's Beer Money. Beer Money moves up to take third. Someone Like You is fourth, 3 lengths off the lead. Thirsty Thursday now back to fifth. Winning Big. Then it's a gap of 5 to Salsation, and size does matter. They passed the half-mile pole with Good Lovin' the one to catch. Leads it by a half length to Immelman in second. 2 more Beer Money and Someone Like You right together. Another 5 to Thirsty Thursday. 4 clear of Winning Big. Size does matter. And Salsation. They're approaching the quarter pole. Immelman on the outside and Good Lovin'. Beer Money stalking in the lime colors as they straighten up for home. And it's Good Lovin' on the inside and Immelman. They've been battling throughout. 3 back Beer Money. Thirsty Thursday rallying up the fence. Coming past the 16th pole. Good Lovin', Immelman, Beer Money on the outside. And here's Thirsty Thursday. Thirsty Thursday splits rivals and runs them down at a big price. Beer Money, Immelman, Good Lovin'.
A couple of things we don't have at Santa Anita today are cold temperatures or snow, unlike the rest of the country. But one thing we do have is a $1 pick six carryover. The first one we've had since we re-implemented the $1 pick six this autumn meet. The carryover, $100,000. You know how much it cost to buy the entire card? $25,200. I don't think many of you will be able to do that. So we need to narrow down that cost a little bit. I've got the perfect guest. He's a disciple of the Thorograph Sheets. His name, George Ortuzar. George, happy Friday. Welcome to the seminar.
It's great to be here, TQ. It's going to be an exciting carryover. This, bringing back the old school pick six brings excitement, more often than just when there's a mandatory payout. So this carryover is going to be exciting today.
Expectations are maybe $600,000 in new money will be in there. And like you said, it's a little bit tricky, although the fields are relatively small. There's really not a prohibitive single other than maybe Hopkins that a lot of players are going to be focused on. We'll get to that a little bit later. Let's first talk about your racing career, George. You've been on before, and of course, you grew up in South Florida. You were a Telemundo TV star, but your very first job was at Hialeah Park, and you were a mutual teller.
Yeah, it was my first job at Hialeah, and I kept that first paycheck for years. I was so proud. Hialeah. Oh. And I was a mutual clerk, and in them days, I guess, as well as today, I would work Hialeah, Calder, and Gulfstream. Like you'd go around to all of them. But Hialeah was my favorite. By far, wasn't even close.
Santa Anita is a spectacular racetrack, make no mistake about it. But Hialeah probably is a close second. There's not many that had that architecture. I was fortunate enough in the early 80s to spend some time down there just hanging out in the paddock and walking around. What a spectacular place. Art paintings on the wall, spiral staircases, the pink flamingos. It kind of had it all.
Yeah, and they had an aviary, they had reptiles, they had, when you come in, that spectacular, foliage and everything. And I met, for the first time there, I met Frank Mermati. For the first time, I met Vic Stauffer. For the first time, you met some great personalities at Hialeah as well. So
and a famous Hollywood actress as well in South Florida. Maybe not at Hialeah, but somebody that we all know, Sofia Vergara.
Sofia Vergara, I met her numerous times. We did a few shows together, so it was always fun working with Sofia Vergara. Wherever we went, I didn't have to worry about how I looked because nobody was looking at me. They were looking at Sofia.
I talked about the $1 pick six carryover today, George. And, I know that you dabbled at the windows, as most of our employees do. That's a good thing. If you work at a tire store, you should be able to kick the tires, and we certainly get involved. But you've had some luck playing the pick six. You hit one for, I believe, about $13,000 across town at Hollywood Park back when we were racing there.
Yeah, that was an exciting day because I singled it was an 8-to-1 shot that went off like 13-to-1, and it won. And then when that one won, like the fourth leg, I was like, I got a shot at this, and then they went on to all win. And I've had some other ones, some smaller ones, but that was pretty cool. It was 13,000. And in the beginning of the day, somebody like one of my bosses yelled at me and was mad at me. And I was like, man, terrible day. But when you hit that pick six, it's like, hey, forget about it.
You make a very good point, George, because not only is it your job to try and identify six winners, but you want to find that separator. And that's what allowed you to cash for $13,000 was that 8-to-1 single. Now, granted, other players might have gone deep to find that particular horse, but you were able to single it, spread out in some other legs. Hopefully you caught a couple of prices along the way. So it's not only picking winners, but the structure of the ticket that's so important.
Yeah, there's different, philosophies on structuring. Some people, go like 3 by 3 by 3 by 4, and that's not my mentality.
Kind of a caveman mentality.
I'm trying to find one or two singles. Like today, I'm going to single two different races, and then it gives me the opportunity to spread in other races. Because sometimes horses win that you go, there's no way I was going to pick that horse, no matter how I handicapped it. And that happens many times. So you can't just pick the top 3 best and the top 3 best, because every now and then you get this wild bomb. And that's the only way that it pays well.
There was a player last Friday who played through FanDuel/TVG and was the only ticket in the pick six. Ironically, it paid $80,000, and the cost of that ticket was $120.
Wow.
Great job of handicapping, great job of ticket structure as well, because if you remember last Friday, there were 2 odds-on favorites who won the first 2 legs. The second leg was won by a John Sheriff's maiden special weight type of horse. And then basically that player turned the pick six into a pick four. And that's where he or she caught the prices. So, I mean, it can be done. That's why players like this new $1 pick six, because it gives you the opportunity to bet a little to win a lot.
Yeah, I like it a lot as well. The old school one for $2 was a little harder to put a ticket together.
And more expensive.
More expensive, yeah. But this is a little bit easier, but you still have that opportunity of winning big like you can today. And as you mentioned, we don't have huge fields. There's no 12-horse fields, but every field is rather competitive. So you got to sharpen your handicapping skills and try to narrow it down, and there's still an opportunity to get paid.
George, I see you wearing the company colors of Folds of Honor, which is a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Emotional and sentimental charity that we sponsor every Memorial Day weekend. We have a poker event where the jockeys and the trainers and the racing fans and some of the personnel decide to play in it. We've had winners like Dave Weaver in the past who emerged victorious. It sounds like from what we spoke about before we came on air that we're going to have that event Memorial Day weekend this year as well.
We are, and I'm looking forward to it. The fans love, you're sitting right next to a jockey that
Edwin Maldonado,
all these
Ricky
big-time
Gonzalez,
jockeys, and they love playing poker, So it's a great cause. Folds of Honor is just a spectacular cause. They raise money for the families of our fallen soldiers to give them scholarships and so forth. So it's a tremendous cause. 100% of the proceeds go to that organization. So we're not making any money out of it, but there's an auction. People playing poker. It's just a lot of fun.
But a really cool auction as well, a silent auction that people who aren't even playing in the tournament, who are from around the country, can actually participate in. Things like hanging out with Doug O'Neill in his suite, going to LA Kings hockey games, sitting on the glass, signed basketballs by Mick Cronin, attending a UCLA basketball practice, a private practice as well. I mean, those are some really, really cool auction items. And like you said, all the proceeds go to the Folds of Honor organization.
We have all those this year, plus boxing gloves signed by, I think, Manny Pacquiao. So we got some boxing gloves. It's going to be an exciting auction.
We're going to duke it out and find out who George likes on today's 8-race card, including the Pick 6 carryover of $100,000, which begins in race number 3. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Mirmati and get the minimal amount of changes on today's card here at the Great Race Place.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast and the turf is firm, with the rail on the turf at 30 feet. Here are the early changes. Blinker note in race 1, start of the early pick 5. Blinker notes in race 2, start of the early pick 4. In the third race, there are no changes. We do start the pick 6 with race 3 today, and there's a carryover from last week of more than $100,000. Remember, the pick 6, a $1 wager. No show wagering in race 4 with the program scratch of number 1. Pick 5 starts with the 4th, as does the all-turf pick 3. In the 5th, number 5, Blazing Bardot, the jockey Luis Contreras. Luis Contreras rides number 5 in race 5. No high 5 in the 6th, scratch number 5, Dancing Soul. In the 7th, start of the Golden Hour pick 4, there are no changes. Blinker notes in race 8, beginning of the Golden Hour double. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. Post time for the first is at 12:30. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner. Tom's special guest today is George Ortuzar.
Welcome back. We're talking with George Ortuzar. He's the Hispanic ambassador for San Diego Park, but he does a lot more than that. George, you actually put your selections every day, both on our website and in the program, and you use the Thorograph sheets extensively to come up with your selections. First, let's talk about the Thorograph itself. Why are you such a disciple? Why are you such a student of Thorograph?
Well, it was funny. Before on the racing form, they had the buyer numbers. I used to love the buyer numbers because nobody had it.
So First came out in the Racing Times way back when.
Racing Times,
sure.
right. So you felt you had an edge. You had the buyer, and nobody else had it who had the regular racing form. So now everybody's got those numbers. So it kind of dilutes some of the numbers that they like. Mm-hmm. So now Thorograph, for me, the Thorograph data is sort of like that. And I like the fact that they take into account not just the final time, because you'll get, if you finish in a dead heat in the buyer numbers, you get the exact same buyer number. But if you finish in a dead heat, but you had trouble, you had to go wide and this and that, you get a much better number on the Thorograph. So I think it's more indicative of the talent of a particular horse. Because like I said, if two horses hit the exact same time, but one had a really wide trip and so forth, he had to run more. He ran faster. He's faster. So those numbers, I love that. And I love the separation of that. Not everybody has them.
You do a lot, George, for San Diego, as I mentioned, not only the selections and the comments in the program and on the website, but I mentioned you're the Hispanic ambassador. What sort of things do you do in your role as a Hispanic ambassador?
Well, we try to communicate, and whenever there's some kind of marketing to be done to the Hispanic market, I'll be either on a TV show, a radio show, try to promote it like that. Of course,
are we having Michelada parties in the infield?
Michelada parties in the infield.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're in East LA
So
when that place is rocking.
But I tell you what, the in the program and online, it's free. You get the my selections every day, and it's not just I'm just picking numbers. I give little anecdotes on each horse and why I like him and so forth. And so I think it's really cool, especially for beginners, to kind of get a feel. And a lot of people are learning Spanish with this because they'll see it in English. Very competitive race. They go to Spanish, carrera muy competitiva. So they you learn Spanish. It's great.
You're great, George. Well, let's see if we can find some winners on today's 8-race card. Kicking things off in race number 1, keeping in mind the pick 6 starts in race number 3. But race number 1, of course, starts the popular 50-cent early pick 5. We're on the turf course in race 1, as you heard Frank Miramati say. Fast and firm conditions here at San Diego. 1 mile is the distance on the turf course. For maiden claiming, 3-year-old fillies, $50,000 is the claiming tag. The turf rail stood air at 30 feet. We've got a field of 6. The original morning line favorite was down on the bottom, number 6, Spirit Rules from the Peter Miller barn. But the current betting choice on the board is number 2, English Danger from the Rolando Quinones barn. 4-1 on John White's morning line. Now 2-1 on the betting board. Give us your thoughts on race 1, George.
Well, the one is currently 3-1. You got Kimura, which I like, and Phil D'Amato, to me, and I call him the Sultan of Sod, because he had Herman Ruth, so that who's a Sultan he was a Sultan. What was he? The Sultan of
Swing,
something like that. Yeah. So anyway, the Sultan of Sod, he's just great on the turf. He just is spectacular.
He's our Chad Brown on the West Coast.
He really is, especially on the turf. So Spirit Rules is probably going to get the lead, but I think Ellie Moore, number 1, is going to be very, very close. And if Spirit Rule doesn't handle 2 turns, which I'm hoping, I think Ellie Moore is going to get first run on anybody. Comes in with the best last race Thorograph number, which I love. So he had a 12. The closest one is a 15. Nobody's come closer than 15. So 12 is a significant 3-number difference. So I like Ellie Moore to sit a perfect trip behind Spirit Rules, get first jump on some of the closers like English Danger and Pink Whitney, which both of them come out of a very cool race because the first place finisher came back and won. The third place finisher came back and broke the maiden. So it was a very good race that they both come out of. And I think either one of them can sneak up for second.
George, you've done a lot of things around the racetrack, including being a jockey agent. Question for you: do you ever own a thoroughbred racehorse, either by yourself or in partnership?
Yeah, the first thoroughbred I ever owned, I owned by myself. And
how'd that turn out?
So I bought it for like $20,000. We put in another like 10,000 because I bought him as a 2-year-old.
Was this in Florida?
In Florida.
Okay.
And the first race she ran, she came in last. And I was like, I just threw away, $30,000 down the drain. And then the second race, we dropped her to maiden claiming 40, and she won. And it's up there as one of the most exciting days of my entire life. There was what a feeling it was. And Todd Schrump was like, the handicapper there.
Yes, this was at Calder.
At Calder. Okay. And Todd Schrump was like, we were just going crazy. I was going crazy. It was one of the most exciting days of my life. And I've had in partnerships own horses. There's no feeling like when you own a horse and he wins. Oh my gosh, it's one of the best feelings ever.
The filly that broke her maiden for a claiming tax second time out. Did you lose her that day?
No, I kept her, and we made like 50,000 of that, filly, and her name was Dance Through Time. And so I always have a special place in my heart for Dance Through Time.
A lot of people hung out at Calder Racetrack and even Gulfstream Park. Was Larry King in the winner's circle that day when your filly won?
He wasn't, but he was around a lot.
Race number 2 begins the 50-cent early pick 4. This time we're on the main track. 1 mile's the distance for $62,500 claimers. Good to see this high-level claiming race in existence. And we've got a field of 5. Morning line favorite number 3, It's My House from the Mark Glatt barn. 8-5 according to John White. What's race 2 according to George Ortuzar?
It's My House, stands out on Thurgraph numbers. Comes in with a 5 and a 4, super fast numbers. Some of the other ones are 10s, 13s, 15s. So from a Thurgraph point, It's My House stands out, almost a single, but sometimes doesn't have that killer instinct at the end, especially in 2023. Just 2 wins from 9 starts, and one of them was a loss to Aram, which is in this race. So Aram is in this race. JJ Hernandez, leading rider. Every now and then it throws in some, a little inconsistent, but the 2 wins at Del Mar and over there at Los Al were superb. And so they had the blinkers. Vlado is hot. JJ obviously is hot. So those are 2 that I think you should be concentrating on.
3 and 4 in race number 2. Here's the main entree that we've been waiting for. Race number 3 begins the $1 pick 6, $100,000 pick 6 carryover going into race number 3. And we kick things off sprinting 7 furlongs on the main track for maiden special weight Calbreds. A field of 5. Take note number 2, Ship and Scam is a first-time gelding. Also number 1, Sand to Sea is a filly running against the boys. Number 4, City of Angels from the Red Hot Mike Pipey barn, who had 3 winners last week, is the 6-5 morning line favorite. We need 6 winners, including race number 3, George. Who's it going to be and why?
Okay, so I'm going to use as many as I can in here. And since there's only 5, like I was thinking of using 4, but that's a formula for disaster.
Kurt Hoover would scold you if you did that, right? Because inevitably that's going to be the one that winds up winning.
Yeah, Topper's Wagers one. I was like, but never tried the dirt. Might like it as well, so I'm going to throw him in. But I think Sand to Sea has a distinct edge as from a pace point of view. Doesn't have the finest Thurgraph numbers. That belongs to Ship and Scam and City of Angels. But Sand and Sea, I think, is going to get the lead. Hot Legs Romulo has shown some speed, but going long, a mile. Here at 7 furlongs, it might be a little bit too long for Sand to Sea, but it's going to get an easy lead, in my opinion. So pace makes the race. Alone speed is very, very dangerous at any track USA. And I think Sand to Sea has every right to take them wire to wire. But City of Angels just ran an 8, spectacular number. He's got Ayuso. He's hot, man. Ayuso is riding great. Ship to Scam's got a good number. So, but I think Sand to Sea has an edge pace-wise.
City of Angels, as you can see, if you have the racing form in front of you, ran against Open Company last time out, now drops back down against Calbreds. And as George mentioned, Sand to Sea, trained by Gary Studi. 5 starters so far at this meet. 4 of them have finished in the muddy, including 2 victories. So certainly the Gary Studi barn going very well right now. Race number 4 begins not only the 50-cent late pick 5, but also the $1 all turf pick 3. And we're sprinting 6 furlongs in the turf course for fillies and mares in for a $50,000 claiming tag. Program scratch of the 1 leaves us with a field of 4. Doug O'Neill trains 2 in here, including the morning line favorite number 2, Alternate Rock, who's 8-5 on the morning line, according to John White. 3 of these 4 runners exit the same race, and that race was back on October 27th, right here at San Anita. The runner that I want you to pay attention to in this replay is number 2, Stressed in this particular race, but it actually is going to break from post position number 6 in the replay we're about to watch. The reason why is they decided to take this mare off the pace for the very first time, and she actually encountered trouble on the turn. She finished with interest, and if you look at their career records, both Alternate Rock and Stressed have identical career records. 15 career starts, 5 wins, 2 seconds, and 1/3. So both Alternate Rock, Stressed, and Phenom all exit this race that you're about to watch and listen to Frank Miramay describe the action back on October 27th.
And they're off. Can't get much more even than that. Ko-Olina and Stressed both out alertly. She's Resilient and Phenom are up and on the pace. Then it's Alternate Rock, and at the back of the field is She's Bulletproof. Down the back stretch, and Phenom in between horses takes a narrow lead from She's Resilient. A length and a half, Ko-Olina in third, followed by Stressed, who's made it over to the rail fourth, about 4 lengths off the lead. Then Alternate Rock and She's Bulletproof has 9 lengths to make up inside the 3/8 pole. And it is Phenom and She's Resilient 1-2. A length and a half, Ko-Olina in third. Now Alternate Rock is starting to pick up some momentum on the outside of Stressed, and 3 more to She's Bulletproof, also trying to get involved late. She's picking it up on the far outside. Phenom shakes loose, top of the stretch, 3-length lead. Alternate Rock finishing strongly in second, and She's Bulletproof as well. Here's Alternate Rock and Antonio Fresu up to take the lead. She's Bulletproof, Stressed, both closing as Phenom is weakening late. It's Alternate Rock, fuller run close to home, and Alternate Rock wins by 2.5. Second win.
George, Alternate Rock, a really nice horse, and obviously got first run on Stress this particular afternoon. Phenom actually had lead mid-stretch and then kind of caved. You can see that Alternate Rock is trained by Doug O'Neill. What did Doug O'Neill do? Next time Phenom ran for $25,000, he decided to dip in and take her. Now she's back in at the $50,000 level. Real intriguing race because it all comes down to how Stress performs either on the pace or off the pace, but certainly that replay shows that she had trouble in that race.
Yeah, that was a tale of two trips. No question about it. Alternate Rock got such an easy trip. Never got stopped. Never lost any momentum. Easy on the outside. Whereas Stress, without question, was making a move and then just had to stop. Then was kind of tight in between runners, and then was full of run at the end as well. No question about it. Stress to me is going to be a single in my pick 6. I just love, and watching that replay, really sold me. JJ Hernandez, our leading rider. I think Stress in the small field is not going to encounter any troubles. It's only a 4-horse field. So the only danger I see, which is going to be my second choice, is not Alternate Rock. Alternate Rock ran a 7 that day on the She's. Every other race has been a 13, a 14. It was just an aberration, I think. Just ran the best race of her life and got a great trip. But I don't think she's as good as Stress or Phenom. Phenom has every right to steal this on the lead.
I agree.
Phenom could go to the lead. Doug's got 2 in there. He just claimed this one, probably because he saw how good Phenom ran against his runner, Alternate Rock. So Phenom has every right with Dettori to steal this. But I think Stress, from that replay, you go, man, Stress looked great. And so I'm going to single Stress. If you could add Phenom, try, but I'm singling Stressed.
Phenom ridden by Frankie Dettori as well certainly doesn't hurt her chances either today. Race number 5 begins the 50-cent late pick 4. We're sprinting 6.5 furlongs in the main track. For maiden claiming Calbred, fillies and mares in for a $50,000 tag. Jockey change on number 5, Blazing Bardot, make it Luis Contreras. Morning line favorite on the bottom from the Anthony Saavedra bar. Number 6, Riders Candy, 2-1 on the morning line. However, George, I want to take a look at a workout for number 1, Warren's Paradise. This workout, believe it or not, was way back on November 17th, and it was a team drill with a runner by the name of Rough Ride. You don't need to have a long-term memory to recognize that Rough Ride was the starter allowance turf winner back on January 12th this year with Joel Rosario in the saddle. You'll remember that was the deep closer, also from the Craig Lewis barn. A couple of things I wanted to point out about Warren's Paradise, even though this workout is over 2 months old. First of all, you can notice that Warren's Paradise down on the inside is not wearing blinkers. She will be wearing blinkers today. And at this point, other than her debut effort, she had never been back on the main track. She had been running 2 turns on the turf course, but she sure looks like she's going to handle the main track, right? She's in there plugging away. The jockey never really asked her to pick it up. They basically finished together, Rough Ride and her, Warren's Paradise down on the inside. But I just think this was kind of a tip off to her hand that she might like the main track. Now, she just has 1 race since then on November 25th, again going 2 turns, but she's dropping down to her lowest level, maiden 50. She's putting the blinkers on. She's drawn inside with a Kaz Kamura in the saddle as well. You can see her even on the gallop out. She's not giving up. I think she's going to like the shortening up in distance and also going to the main track, but you see this race a little bit differently.
Well, I mean, she's my second pick. So I think Elton Sing is another one that has, really good early speed. Certainly has proven that on the dirt and is probably going to get the lead. I just maybe the 4 can run Plum Creek with that runner, but this one is going to get the lead. They take the blinkers off, so maybe could check out her surroundings a little bit. She's been in blinkers her whole life, but I think she has a pace edge. She's going to go to the lead, and they're going to have to try to catch her, and it's not going to be easy. Warren's Paradise has just one start on the dirt. And I was, it was the debut. And then, of course, all the debut problems, off slow, was wide, this and that. But still, at 5 furlongs, made up a lot of ground against Chismosa. And we know how good Chismosa. Stakes winning Chismosa. I mean, Chismosa's good.
And Warren's Paradise that day broke from the rail. So there was a lot working against her. One race doesn't make a career. I do like this move, as I mentioned. She's 5-2 on the board, daughter of Clubhouse Rides. But this is, like you said, tactically, a lot of these races are coming up to what happens from a pace standpoint.
Right.
Like you said, with Elton Sings another, you expect or anticipate that she'll get a relatively uncontested early lead. But if someone jumps up, because everyone's reading the racing form, and maybe even, a runner like Blazing Bardot off the long layoff could be a little aggressive coming out of the gate. You just don't know, which is what makes this sequence so tricky.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, this is a spread race to me, no question about it. Even the outside runner, Ryder's Candy, he's got some good thoroughgraph numbers as well. So, but yeah, my top two are certainly the inside two runners, and I think Warren's Paradise is going to come flying late.
Race number 6, we're running the abbreviated sprint distance of 5 furlongs in the turf course for fillies and mares. $25,000 is the claiming tag. One scratch the 5, Dancing Soul, leaves us with a field of 6. Number 16, Drama, partially owned by former trainer Bill Spar from the Phil D'Amato barn, is the 5-2 morning line favorite. How do you see race 6, Georgie?
So this is going to be my other single. So I got 2 singles today, and this one, Team Drama, is going to be my other single. Against First Time Pratt. That angle alone is very profitable.
Correct.
I mean, you get First Time Pratt, that's a good sign. Trained by the Sultan of Saad, once again, which I love betting Phil D'Amato, is one of my favorites to bet, especially on the turf. 5 furlongs, Pratt's a genius. So is Phil D'Amato. By, not a huge difference in thoroughgraph numbers, but got a touch of class, has the best thoroughgraph numbers overall, not by much, but certainly overall the best thoroughgraph number. Get First Time Pratt. You got a single somewhere. This is going to be a single for me. I like a new piece because Lee Baraccio has been doing so good too. Man, Lee, I like him a lot, and he just claimed this one 2 back. Last time maybe a little bit overmatched, but I expect a good effort from a new piece. But I'm singling Team Drama in my pick 6.
A couple additional comments for George's top 2 picks. Number 6, Team Drama. You can see last time out, lost to a razor-sharp Doug O'Neill runner by the name of Stay and Scam. If you watch the Cal Cup Derby seminar with Brad Free as my seminar guest, we showed that replay. And Stay and Scam, she earned a buyer speed figure of 93 that day. Ooh. No one was going to beat her, so certainly Team Drama is running against much softer company. And George also mentioned trainer Lee Baraccio for number 2, a new piece. Interestingly enough, a new piece comes back in 7 days. Lee Baraccio's only done that twice over the last 5 years, bringing a runner back that quickly. One time he did wound up emerging victorious, and he also adds the blinkers onto a new piece. You'll remember 7 days ago, Crimson Rose was one of the much ballyhooed Mike Pipey runners who wound up winning, and 2-back Phenom, who we talked about in race 4, is who a new piece lost to. So certainly a new piece has a lot of Sharpie angles going for her if you don't like Team Drama. Race number 7 begins the $1 golden hour pick 4, and is also the 5th leg of the $1 pick 6, and we kick things off in the golden hour pick 4, linking our last 2 races here with the last 2 races at Golden Gate, sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track for a straight allowance race. We've got a field of 5, 2 of them trained by Peter Miller, including the 10-year-old number 3, ZZ Rocket, who's 2-1 on the morning line, but the morning line favorite is number 2, Hopkins from the Bob Baffert barn, 8-5 on the morning line. You can see Hopkins has been working here at Santa Anita, including a work that I want to show on January 14th. As we watch this workout, courtesy of our friends at xbtv.com, you can see that Hopkins is on the outside. Who's inside? None other than Reincarnate. You might recall Reincarnate won both the 2023 Grade 3 Sham as well as the Los Alamitos Derby cross town. So certainly the work meat is not chopped liver. Hopkins kind of looms up here on the outside. That's Drayden Van Dyke in the saddle. And although this workout was only 4 furlongs, which I found a bit unusual, the other thing I found unusual, George, for those who might be considering singling Hopkins, is as we watch the workout here and watch Hopkins come down the lane, he never switches lead. That's very unusual, not only for Hopkins, but for a lot of Bob Baffert trainees in the morning. You can see Hopkins stays on that left lead the entire way down. I don't know if that means anything, but to me, it causes a little bit pause for concern about maybe considering singling Hopkins.
Yeah, certainly Hopkins didn't switch leads there. And I love the fact that you can see all these workouts, most of the workouts here at Santa Anita,
we're spoiled.
For free.
We're spoiled.
On xbtv.com. It's just fantastic.
You don't even have to leave your living room, right? You can just fire up the computer, watch the morning workouts. I mean, it's an unbelievable luxury that we provide to our players.
And all the serious players that I talk to, really use that tool. It's a tool that you have to have in
You
your
have to,
handicapping
particularly with
toolbox.
layoff runners, whatever it might be. First-time starters in North America, it's a great tool.
And just looking at it work and go, oh, bullet work. You have to see it to see. Was that bullet work or was it a
Who
bullet
was
work?
the work
Yeah,
rate?
right.
What was the
Right.
job?
What
What
was
was
the
the
story
exercise
there?
rider doing exactly?
So anyway, Hopkins is certainly going to be my top pick. They gave this one plenty of time off from that Dubai bounce with the he's talking about coming from Dubai. It's hard to come back and win. But it's funny to me because like Hopkins, they probably thought we're going to put him in a nice allowance race, give him an easy race, and probably Ginobili said, yeah, we're going to bring him back in an easy allowance race. Man, nothing but greatest stakes winners in this race. This could be easily a stakes
And
race.
CZ Rocket says, hold my beer. Don't forget about him either,
2 million.
right?
2 million. So anyway, Hopkins, though, if that one runs, I mean, he's got the best thoroughgraph numbers by far. He's super fast. Bob Baffert, he's only 22% with this kind of layoff, so he's great. And I haven't given up on Ginobili. He's going to be my second pick, and I'm using them both in the pick 6. Ginobili had a terrible race in the Razorback. Then they gave him time off. Something was amiss there. But I have not lost faith in Ginobili. I still think he's got a run in him, and I'm rooting for my man DVD, who doesn't get a lot of mounts, but hopefully Ginobili will run good.
Drayden Van Dyke's new agent now is Ryan Casado. Ryan Casado, part of the Slam Dunk Racing operation, which owns Ginobili. And looking through these PPs, George, whether it's Hopkins, CZ Rocket, or Ginobili, I wonder if this is a prep race for either the Dubai races or the Saudi races. Hate to see them leave Southern California, but it sure looks like maybe one or multiple runners here in race number 7 could be headed overseas. Yes. I don't know that to be true. That's just speculation. Race number 8 closes out the day and also begins the $5 Golden Hour Daily Double, linking our last race here with the last race at Golden Gate. And race 8 is 6 furlongs in the turf course for starter optional claiming types. We've got a field of 7. Anthony Saavedra with his second morning line favorite in the pick 6 sequence, this time with number 4, Cribbage Board, who is taking the blinkers off, ridden by Kyle Frey. We need all 6 in order to cash, George. Who's it going to be in the nightcap?
I think you could use all 6 and then the 7th as well, because this is the hardest race for me in the whole sequence. Try to use as many as you can in here. I'm going with the Neon Lights as my top pick. Looked really good breaking the maiden at Del Mar, and then was a bit overmatched last time out. Beef Winslow was really good, book smart. So I'm going to give that one a slight edge. And I like Steve Knapp. You talking? I was a jockey agent. Whenever I brought a jockey, I had like 5 or 6 jockeys to the Steve Knapp barn for the first time. He always had a trick question for them. Always, he would say, hey, tell me, are you better with your left hand or with your right hand? Boy, if they didn't say I'm equally good with each hand, they were toast. He was like, no, I'm better with my right. What do you mean? You got to be better with my... And he would always give him a trick question. So, but I love Steve Knapp. He's a wonderful trainer, and he's going to be my top pick there. But to Spider, it was a good comeback race as well on the synthetic at Golden Gate. Andy Mathis, excellent trainer. So I'll give her a shot, but this is one of those that, boy, you try to use as many as you can.
George, those of us looking at the racing form and don't have access to Thoroughgraph, for number 1, Neon Lights, there's 4 consecutive races that are ascending from a Beyer speed figure. Each number is better than the previous race. Is that kind of what you see in Thoroughgraph as well?
Well, yeah, he went 14, 11, 12, 9. So, yeah, pretty much that pattern getting better and better. And the last one was the best he's ever run. So even though he came in 6th, it was his best thoroughgraph number ever.
Do you find that the numbers are translatable from, like, let's just use number 3 to Spite Her, from synthetic over to turf, or do you have to be cautious with that? In other words, does the surface matter when looking at thoroughgraph numbers?
I think so. I think the thoroughgraph numbers for synthetics translate better to turf than they do to dirt for whatever reason, from my experience. So a good turf number might translate to a good performance on synthetic and vice versa, but not necessarily to dirt.
1 and 3 to close it out for George Ortuzar. We always get a good thoroughgraph number whenever we have George on the seminar. Thanks so much for your time and insight today, George. I know you're a little bit under the weather. Really appreciate you coming on board. Good luck in the pick 6, and of course with all your professional endeavors as well.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks to you as well.
Good luck, everyone.
Thanks to all of you for watching. Next voice you hear, be track announcer Frank Miramati, updating us with any late changes. Make some money today in the pick 6 carryover, $100,000. Should be exciting. Have fun.